All right, I've been getting this request a lot. I'm gonna go over my pack and how I used it. I use a pack like this setup for almost all my sniper matches. What I would deem this setup would be more of a assault sniper type setup, to where we don't need to carry a bunch of support equipment, but we need to carry the minimal equipment, hands free. I'm a firm believer in hands free. I feel you can move a lot more efficiently. You're less fatigued, and the amount of time it takes to pack this and then unpack it is very, very small. So if the situation allows, 100% put it on your back. You can move out. I think I can pack this up typically in like 45 seconds and unpack it in about the same time. So I'm going to go over everything on how I do it. So how we're going to start this is I'll go from the frame. So this is the Everly stock F1 mainframe. What I like about this is I have a nice Molly panel. It's rigid. I'm a firm believer in rigid packs, a 90-degree angle. I really like the angle on it. It allows me to like set it up and work on it. But that's the core, is F1 mainframe. I have taken off the waist strap, but usually I have the waist belt on this. But currently I'm going to be using this for coyote hunting this winter. So I took that off. I won't be needing it, but 100% would have a waist pack. F1 mainframe. On the bottom, I do a little bit of foam just to protect the rifle as you're standing it up and you're putting the butt of the rifle down, or optic, anything like that. It just adds a little bit extra protection. And then I also slid foam up, cut up an old sleeping mat and shoved foam up in here to protect against any of these hard pieces on this. All right, so that's the frame. Then I'm going to show you guys how I put my rifle on first, and then I'll talk about why and things like that. So this is when a folding stock is super nice, because you can get your rifle more compact. I have used this on with a non-folder, and it does stick out pretty high, but depending on what you're doing, it may not bother you at all. But folding stocks are nice. All right, how I like to do it is I put my rifle down. I'm going to do this on the ground, but I want you guys to be able to see. Is I put my rifle down, and then I lean it up against the frame. What you have is this space here. There are other products from Everly stock. You can modify different shooting pads and other things to fit in here, but I don't like carrying my bag if I don't have to. If my bag is, like if my rifle's packed, I'm not going to need my bag, so it's going to be packed as well. So what I'll do is I'll lay it down. My bag goes on the top first, and then my rifle goes down and it lays. Now, the next thing we had to figure out was, how do I secure this to the frame without it moving? We do some pretty dynamic movements, so I cannot have this thing flop around and being unsecure. So what I did is, I'll show you guys, and I'll zoom in more in a minute, but is I take this strap here and I'll loop it around the fore end or the barrel, depending on rifle length, clip that in, and now that's my single attachment point for my rifle. And by doing that, getting that down tight, now this thing is super secure. All right, it is not going anywhere. Anytime I tried to take a bag on the outside and cinch that down to hold the rifle, it never held well enough. So having this strap here as your single point does all the work to keep your rifle secured. And then by having this bag in there, it locks in super tight, nice rigid frame. Like, this is not going anywhere. And then you're able to move out and carry that. Now getting onto this. So this is a homemade tripod scabbard. Buddy of mine at Stalwart Defense, he came up with this and made one for him and one for myself. And that's what we used at this most recent match. And this thing has been legit. So he just takes some plastic and folded it down, went to a sew shop and had him fab up some material. But then now I just throw my tripod in and it's ready to go. The rubber on the tripod keeps it into the plastic well enough to where it doesn't really slide out. I had minor sliding out, like say it was oriented downhill and I leaned my pack over. Sometimes this would slide out. So I did have some shot cord to retain it should I want to, but if you don't have that situation, there's no reason to add additional coverage or securing mechanism because it stays. And then it's super quick to get that out, and it's super quick to pack it up. So that is the tripod. How we originally had the tripod, my first iteration of this is this is the tactical weapon scabbard from Eberlestock. I had this mollied onto the frame, and then I would shove my tripod in first and then put my rifle down and attach my rifle. It's not a bad system. It definitely worked very well. It's what I used for a long time, but by having it off on this end is I now can have my tripod in and out as needed without having to take my rifle out. If I pack my rifle first, now my tripod is not just left in the wind. I can shove that in there. And then also there's not like a fulcrum point here. The rifle rides a little bit tighter, a little bit closer to the frame by being this way. So I didn't need this. So this is the Eberlestock tactical weapon scabbard. I don't even know if there's a SKU for that anymore. And then the other version was to take a little bit smaller one. This is also one of their weapon scabbard. And I just cut it off and put some Gorilla Tape or monkey tape down and molly that on. That works pretty good too. That's what I was using for a while, but this is definitely a far better system and far better way to have it off the side of the rifle. All right, so that is the frame, and then your bag. Having a bag just depends on the match you're doing and what you need to carry. So for this most recent nasty, we were carrying 66 rounds to 70 rounds of a rifle, which was more than enough, but we just carried that. It's not a big deal. So I'm sure you've seen pictures, but I would take different magazine pouches and molly them to the outside, and then the inside would have things like a little bit of water, some snacks, food, because it could be longer days, some tools, extra ammo, whatever I needed inside of there, spotting scopes, anything like that. So I can have, these are from Alpine Design Works, or if you're shooting a gas gun, you can have those on the outside, and that's how you attach that. But this is where I'll show you. These are hard to get to, but that's fine because you're typically only folding out one side of this pack to get your rifle open. So what I did is this was always the locked-in side. This was always my working side. So anytime I needed to open this up, I never had to mess with these buckles because they're kind of hard to get to with this scabbard. So that would fold over. I'll zip this up. And then these would clip on to the sides. Right. And so then now this is super loose, and you can cinch it down just so it's not flopping, but it doesn't have to be that tight. But the rifle is going to maintain being secure because you got this strap up here. But then now you have access to your mags that are on the outside, anything that's quick access into the top, good to go. And I like it this way as well because as this, like this, you could have a jacket, rain jacket in here or a puff layer or something. And no matter how big or small this gets, the rifle is always secured up here. So then when I wanted to deploy it, just flip those out of the way. That goes down, take this off. Now, rifle's out, ready to go. So it's that quick, packing it back up. Aircraft load our guns. Goes down. Loosen that up to get some working nylon. Cinch that down. And I'm like just cruising. I'm not going at any type of fast speed here. Ready to go. So that's how I've used it. I have a different system that I'm working on currently with some people to try and improve this portion of it. But yeah, at its core, the ability to take your rifle, put it on a frame, have a single attachment point for securing it tight to the frame is like the key. From there, what you do with it or how you make changes is going to be on you. But you could have I mean, you could have like a super lightweight frame from like Stone Glacier or, Exo Gear, or all these other gear companies and pack companies. Just take the frame, sew on or rig up some sort of bucket, and have a super tight attachment point to the top. And then you're going to have a very similar setup. But again, I like this Everlystock pack for multiple reasons. I've used it a lot, and the ability for it to stand up and be pretty rigid is what I like about it. And you can see here on the foam, now it's protected because we're not always loading our guns up on top of a workbench. If there's a rock down here like this, now I'm trying to load this thing up, it's protecting the scope a little bit, protecting the back here, and then that foam is protecting anything that's rubbing up on there. So this is how I carried my rifle at this most recent match, is how I carry it if I was to go hike somewhere and go shoot, or if I'm just loading your gun up at the range like this, taking it and just throwing it in the truck ready to go. And then you just throw on your bino harness, throw on your pack, and you have some ammo in here. You can go off and go and shoot and do whatever you need. You have everything you need to shoot. So it's a pretty good system. I like it a lot. Now, something I do want to talk about is I can't credit this 100% to myself. So if you guys know John Cuckler down at Steel City in Alabama, we saw his system about 2 years ago, and is very similar to this. He had the same pack and he was attaching it, and we loved how he was doing it. Quick in and out, easy, slimline, very good to go. And we made some slight adjustments to that, used it, and then again, just like anything else, you're always evolving. Had some other input from some other ideas, and made some input and had some small changes, and now we got this. So I think this is a really good spot. Again, in the future, look for this to be improved. I have some ideas that I think I'm going to test out, and I'm going to use them up. And if they're good enough, then we'll see where it goes from there. But that's how I run my packs, and it's very, very easy and slimlined and easy to use. And what I want to touch on too is like this is the escape and evade. I don't have a requirement to carry a lot of stuff, so having a smaller pack is nice. But if you go and at this most recent match, I carried the Everlystock, one of their EMOD assault packs, and it's a larger pack. You 100% can carry more stuff in there, or carry that pack if you have a more equipment requirement, or one of their med bags. I mean, shoot, you could have a medic bag on top of here and med stuff in there, or use the med bag to fill it with other stuff. Just whatever you want to do, having the ability to just take these buckles and these packs and straps and just build what you need. And the core of it is the frame. So that's going to be a great option. And I've been really happy with this, and I trust it, and it's worked well for me, and it works well for others.